Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch Dev Stream. Pew, pew, pew. Hello, how's it going? As always, I'm your host, Mike. That's what I usually say. I always forget what I'm supposed to say. Only do it once a week. Slips my mind. How's it going? We're back. I'm just gonna keep hanging out with my my low-level sentinel here.
Treasure, my friend. Hey, don't go getting yourself killed.
We're gonna have some fun as we go level. It's some questions. Got some cool things to show you. It's gonna be a good stream. We're doing throwback shirt today. Yeah. Yes, tables die. That bookshelf's lucky. Next time. If this is your first time here, welcome. Glad to have you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask those in chat. I'll be happy to answer them. Please put at Last Epoch Game in the questions so I see it. Yeah. That's about it. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Here we go. Alright, first question. When are we getting an LE dev podcast with multiple devs? I mean, we don't really... I don't think we have any specific plans for something like that, but it's a cool idea. I know we've had a few guest appearances on other podcasts, which have been awesome. This is kind of like our podcast here, right? Is the stream? We just don't have enough time to dedicate more than a couple people like me and the people who are helping me put this together. Or I should say that are putting this together that I'm presenting for. You know, it's a lot of people to do a whole podcast regularly. Try and keep the impact of this sort of thing small if we can. But I do want to have more guests on here, or have other people join other podcasts and things like that more. I think that'd be really cool. We've got a raiding party coming in, and a Twitch Prime sub. Oh yeah, we got lots of stuff happening. Promi for the win. Thank you very much. And Curse Boy, welcome everyone from their stream. Hope y'all having fun. The question here: have there been any interactions that have made you say, "I'm so nerfing this"? If so, what was that? I mean, yeah, there's that's happened a few times. I can't think of something specific off the top of my head. I mean, the original Baldur's Wrath Werebear interaction was like the instant it went up as people like started using it. Everyone's like, even the build guides were like at the start of it saying, well, this is gonna get nerfed immediately, so use it while you can, type thing. You know, sometimes it's just too much. That build's been nerfed like 3 times, hard, and it still is popular. Mike's hooked up to the mainframe with those loading times. I am playing on the completely live client. I am really close to the server apparently because I have 24 ping. Yeah, no, it is exactly the same. I'm on nothing special. This is experience as expected for players, which is important. I think that we're not like putting me on sneaky stuff that's making it seem better than it is or something like that. And we've had our fair share of embarrassing bugs on stream. It doesn't happen that many times, but every time it happens, I feel terrible. Alright, come on. What are we doing? Where are we going? Putting points and stuff. We need to kill stuff faster, right? It's just straight damage there. I do like just having the melee physical. The flat fizz. We might transition into Hammerden later, because I just love Hammerdens. What else? Oh, there was a build that came out where someone had like, I don't know, 100, 200 wraiths or something, where it was just too many wraiths, and we're like, it was just so, like, the reason why they weren't getting more wraiths was because the game was just lagging so much that it was slowing down to the point where they couldn't summon them anymore. Yeah. Quick question before I go to sleep. I'll do my best to answer. Are you planning on adding a character customizing system? Yes, but not at 1.0. So we do want to include character customization to the game. It's one of those things that people are sometimes very passionate about. It's sort of a very, oh my god, or who cares type issue. And so we want to be able to deliver a good quality character customization system for people who it's super important for. I'm trying to get all three of them, but it's just not working. But we don't have the time to get it in for 1.0 or the development hours. So we hope to include it at some point. It's not a high priority feature for us. When we do include it eventually, it'll be a pretty robust version. It won't be anything as intense as like Baldur's Gate 3. I would say is an example of a extremely detailed character customizer that we probably wouldn't go quite that hard. And this is what I say every week, like, even if I had customized my character, like, right now, the only thing you'd be able to see, like, you can see a little bit of his hand here, and you can see his, like, general body type shape. Like, that's all you can see. And yeah, a lot of people want us to have, like, you can't see the helmet thing, you can see his face, but even so, you're playing like this, like, what does his face look like right now? Right? So it's tough for us to prioritize something like that too high because there's such little impact in the moment-to-moment gameplay for the vast majority of people. Having said that, it is an incredibly important feature for certain people, so we want to deliver for them. So it just comes down to priorities and timing and all that sort of stuff. I think we're going down here for this. No, this. I was considering the forged. Yeah. Let's do move speed for now. Hello, person. Hi, you want to be friends?
Gods be with you.
We could have been friends.
You feeling lucky? Stay safe.
I totally picked the wrong one. It doesn't really matter for this character. Oh well. Oh well. When did the icon for Shield Rush change? Right. Who bought into the early access? Those are going to get some little gifts or something, or is it a surprise? I mean, we've like your account will start with stuff in here for being in early access. So yes, you've already got a bunch of stuff. People who were like really early, there was other things that came with their bundles too. So yeah, like there's stuff that we've included for early access people. And there might be other stuff too, I don't know, but there's at least that. I don't think there's anything else planned. I could be wrong though. I just don't know. Gold. Alright. With the corruption changes, are you guys maybe looking at changing the mods themselves? I and others seem to feel like they're a bit too generic, and that would be more exciting for them to give different rewards with more mechanical downsides instead of just stuff like 30% damage, 20% rarity. I know this is a big change, so it's not something I expect at all for 1.0. We spend a lot of time trying to find mods that will work to go in the Monolith and to add more. I think we've got like 2 more coming down the pipe. I know there's one. There might be a second one. The number of specific ideas that get pitched internally compared to the number that actually make it through, like that ratio is like 1% make it through of mods that are pitched, and we try and see if we can make them work. There's a lot of reasons why they don't work. And there's probably a lot of things that you're thinking like, well, obviously you just said this, and I'm just like, no, can't do it. So it's definitely something we do try to find good options for. And if you've got specific ideas for it, we've got suggestions channels on Discord, our forums, all sorts of places we look for it as well. Other nodes. Yeah. I think there's also a few in there that were, once you get into higher corruption, because they were stealth scaling, they were becoming so dangerous at high corruption that they were sort of being reported as impossible to do. And oh, you never take this type of node in your monolith. So they kind of felt like they didn't exist. So the pool of possible options felt like it shrunk a bunch there, because there were some that were sort of like off limits, if that makes any sense. And I think this change will bring some of those back into the realm of like, oh, hey, I can actually, I can try that one if I want now. And I think that'll help with some of the diversity concerns as well. You know what, we're just going to move a little bit. We have the technology. Next question. Are you personally more excited for Warlock or Falconer? I'm personally right now more excited for Falconer. And that's probably just because that's what I'm working on right now. But yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. They're both fun. They're both tons of fun. We need this. Yep. There we go. Let's go to there. I hate that bridge shows up still. So frustrating. Ugh, so frustrating. Do you plan on creating any loot filter tools or build planner auxiliary tools, or are you going to stay on the community? We don't have any that are planned to release with 1.0. If there's... We initially started out planning that we were going to make a bunch of these tools. And who's the first? Dammit and Tunk, those two guys just beat us to the punch so handily that we kind of looked at it and went, I mean, that's better than what we were making. And if we stop, we can save a ton of time and implement this other feature instead and make the game better. So we kind of put them on hold. I don't know which ones will end up finding their way back or not, that sort of stuff. But yeah, there's not any sort of big tools that are planned for 1.0, and it's going to be something that's changes as we go, I guess. we try to focus more on the stuff that's in the engine, just in general. So like if we were gonna make a this is something I've been wanting to do for a while now, actually, is have the loot filter system be able to have like a I guess like the import system have like a loot filter browser where people could like this is not in production. This is sort of one of those things that I'm like, one day I'll get it in there. To have a system where you could upload and share your loot filters with other people, and like search for filters, and like vote on like upvote, like endorse other people's filters. I guess that's a better way to put it, because we wouldn't want the downvoting thing. Probably for something like that. And this is a big reason why this description field is even here. It's sort of a remnant of this idea that we would be able to do this, because if you're making filters for yourself, it's not like, I don't know how many of you actually use this description field if just for yourself. But if someone's like sharing a filter, this description suddenly becomes useful. And people who share filters on like our forums and things like that, I see this description field being used quite a bit. But I can't say I've ever put anything in there myself for just like a personal filter. So, yeah. Alright, let's keep going. Blue filter is freaking out right now, I will say that. You can't see the chat, but it is freaking out. Let's hide normal and magic items. There we go. I think it didn't like that I put a 0 rule filter in. Oh no, how will we survive?
Stand down or die.
Alright. Do you think weapon-related passive tree nodes are a positive thing? Absolutely, yes. But I have a feeling you don't. Personally, I find in Primalist they are build restrictive, and in Sentinel they remove the ability to use spears, and you miss the damage and attack speed bonus. The Blade Dancer one is well designed, IMO, as it gives bonuses for all weapon types. Do you agree with my analysis? Bad lol. I agree that it has those effects. I don't agree that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think if it, I think having differences between different classes, so like having some nodes be like the styles of nodes being one way in one class and a different way in another class is a very positive thing. I think having certain types of weapons be generally easier to use on different classes is a positive thing. Like I think like if you can thematically link specific weapons to specific classes easier, I think that's a really good thing. I don't think it should be impossible to build outside, like you should be able to color outside the lines. I think you can, but pushing those like those class fantasies and those specific thematically appropriate interactions out is a good thing. It's important. And then having ways where people can divert from those expectations and those obvious things is really good too. Like something I really love to do in Diablo 2 was make a melee Sork or a bow Sork, you know, a crossbow Sork, and they weren't very good. There wasn't a ton of possibilities to actually do it, all that sort of stuff, but you know, it worked decently well, and we've kind of cheated. It's not off the beaten path in this game because we've just added that as one of the main masteries. But you know, like that type of thing is good, and we do like to sort of inject little ways for people to be able to take it, like to explore and experiment things that might not be quite so super obvious. But if there's just like, if there's a dagger node on Sentinel, there's and a two-handed weapon node on Rogue, it makes finding those like off the beaten path builds, a little more on the beaten path, if that makes any sense. Do you have a dedicated server or something? Why are you loading time so crazy fast? I do not have a well, technically yes, I have a dedicated server. Everyone who's playing on their own has a dedicated server. So, yes. That's just how multiplayer works, though. I did recently. You say you made a new SSD. I did recently get a new SSD that I love because it's so fast. But actually, this isn't even installed on it, so it doesn't matter. It's basically just my OS and my dev client, and my Unity install and our game builds are all in there, like for the development process. It's just so I can work faster. This is actually installed on an old SSD. I mean, 2 years old, so not that old. Anyways, Bow Acolyte went. Yeah, like right now it doesn't work at all. I'd love to see bow options on other classes, but not be heavily supported. That sounds weird. Like, I guess that's the thing. Like, you get this idea where you're like, oh, I'll stand behind my giant horde of minions and use my crossbow and mow people down. It's like, yeah, that's awesome, right? And you can't do it yet, but I'd love to see it. Hey, buddy. Looks like you got an infestation here. Handle. You mentioned before that we'd eventually get more item factions than just 2 announced 1.0. That's not what I said. Sorry, just to be clear, what I said was that there'd be more factions, not specifically item factions. So there'd be more factions than just the 2 announced 1.0. Is it a long-term thing, or is it something you guys add semi-consistently with cycles? Plan to add. This is I don't know what the next set of factions are going to be yet. I do know that it won't be 1.1. I'll say that. It's not going to be 1.1. It'll be the next factions at all. Yeah. Because they take quite a while to do. We want to make sure we have a chance to see how the first factions work in, the item factions, see how they work. Because like we're testing them with our CT program, like we've been testing them internally, CT program, all sort of stuff, and we've been getting tons of great feedback. And we're making changes already on it, but like it's not the same as getting like thousands of people in there simultaneously, you know. So we've still gotta I guess have some time to digest the feedback that we get from it from a larger scale. And can I not take that? I cannot take that.
Despair.
Alright. Hey! What does this mean for Tempest Strike as of 1.0? Tempest Strike will instead be a powerful high-cost combo ability. Well, I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but it means that Tempest Strike will be a powerful high-cost combo ability. So So like right now, Tempest Strike is like it's a spammable ability, like Vengeance right here. So like you attack and it's fairly slow. Well, not fairly slow, but like fairly fast. It's like so. We generally have two main classes of melee abilities. So this is like spammable, zero cost. It quite often gets used as there's nodes often in the tree that are generator nodes to help you with doing things in between larger attacks. Sometimes they'll have nodes that let you increase their mana cost so that it is a that you can use it more like your primary damage source.
I see.
And so yeah, that's things like if we're gonna hear this Vengeance, that's Rive, that's multi-strike. That's basically it. But whereas on the flip side of that, there's like heavier hitting, higher mana cost, sometimes have cooldowns abilities, like for example Forge Strike or Erasing Strike, or Smelter's Wrath, or what are good examples? Void Cleave, yeah, Void Cleave gets in there. You know, things that you're more like a little bit beefier, a little bit stronger, a little bit heavier. That you're investing. Maybe it's the centerpiece of more builds, hopefully, that sort of thing. So yeah, we're taking Tempest Strike and we're moving it from the former category more into the latter category, so it's going to fit. Unfortunately, I'm not on a primalist character, so I can't really show you things that'll fit with. But it's like instead of being more comparable to Swipe, it'll be more comparable to Earthquake. You know, not quite that far, but like we're moving it in that direction. And combo ability. So combo ability is, for example, Rive is a combo ability.
He might be kind enough to show you how to tap his
There's like where you. So Rive is if you use one ability, it's like a slash, and then it's a slash, and then it's a spin slash. It's a 3-piece combo ability. So Tempest Strike will be a combo ability like that, where the first attack will do one thing, second attack will do something else, and the third attack will do something else entirely. I don't know. I didn't actually read that section of the post today, so I'm not entirely certain. Okay, what do we pick here? How do we do a poll? Someone tell me what. I want people to tell me what to pick.
I guide the shades.
How do we do a poll? How do things? Oh, someone made the poll. Thank you. I assume it was Kane or whoever it was, though. If it's not, thank you very much. Yeah, let's see what I should make. Tell me what I should pick. Neck and neck. We'll hold out just for another minute or so. I will. Thank you so much, Kane. Appreciate it. I'll put up a little teaser in the meantime. Here's a little tidbit. Was I talking about a question? Did I just like abandon it completely? I think I finished the Tempest Strike one. Okay, here's a little. I know it's going to cover the screen, which is unfortunate, but people know generally what it is. Here's a little preview of something we've been promising for a long time now, and it's finally happening. This won't be available until 1.0 goes live, but we are including a full proper offline mode. And here's what it will look like and how you pick that. When you launch the game from Steam, you'll be able to select if you want to play in online or offline mode. You can tell it to remember your selection, so you don't have to tell it every single time. And you can change that selection even if you told it to remember it. Yeah, so it's happening. We're doing full proper offline mode, like we said we would. Yeah. Not really much else to say about that. It's pretty cool. Great job to the people that got that in. 'Twas not me. This poll's taking a while. I don't think we're getting many more votes. I'm just gonna end the poll now. We're doing Forge Guard! Well done, everybody. Woohoo!
That strength will be necessary.
Thank you
if
for
our world, our
helping me
reality
choose.
is to
And we got bonus playtime with me having something on my screen that I forgot. So there's that too. we're not even up there yet. One more. Let's add Forge Strike to our build, right? Let's just slap Forge Strike on there.
why thank you. There is an old passage to the surface.
Gods be with
I
you.
will discover
Every time I see this guy stretching, I don't know what that is, the timing, but it seems stretching as I walk up, and I'm like, oh, he's stuck in T-pose. Oh no! It's just him stretching. There it is.
Stay safe.
Oh, I love it.
Greetings. Do not dwell on regrets. May Eterra smile
Perfection.
upon you. Farewell.
Thank you. That's so nice. Come on, come on. All right. Do you have anyone working on tutorials and in-game guides? Yes, we do. As well as, do you plan on setting out some sort of expectation for difficulty for corruption level, like how area levels are? I think it's arena levels. I think. Are you for how fast you're progressing? Clearing X corruption with no legendary power, etc. for people who have rough estimate of the success of their build without jumping to a new one. I think that's sort of like that benchmarking is something that's going to be community defined. We've put out things before where we've said like, oh, we expect it to be roughly this or that. Is he down there yet? Oh, he's later. We've expected to be like roughly something like 300 corruption or this or that, like, and it frequently gets like different benchmarks are set by the community, and this is something that we that having such a high variance in difficulty from corruption has been a major problem for us, and part of the reason we're making these changes to corruption is that it's so hard to say we expect most players to be able to do X corruption after playing for so long as a new player, and we expect people to do like 1.5x corruption as an experienced ARPG player, and we expect people to do 2x corruption as an experienced LE player, you know, within a month of the patch going live or something like that. You know, like all these things, these expectations we have were so hard to tie those numbers to corruption, because corruption was such a variable thing where you could say like, hey, this 300 corruption echo is harder than this 1200 corruption echo, which was not great. So we're trying to fix that as one of the main things, and then I expect there'll be a bit of a like community expectations for how good things are and what content you can complete and that sort of stuff is going to sort of generate itself. We'll still have a similar expectation, I think, in and around that 300 corruption mark, for the most part, but you know, it's less about what number of corruption it is and more about like what sort of time and effort investment and skill requirement, like player skill requirement, is needed for those sorts of things. Oh my god, I have so much more mana that I could be using, and Forge Strike. There we go. It's way better. Just come on down here. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much, someone. What do we got here? ODM49 is resub for 6 months in a row. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks very much for joining us. Hope you're having fun. Yeah. What are we doing? We're having fun? We are answering questions. Will there ever be South African servers? Maybe. We don't have any plans to include South African servers at 1.0. I know that. There's places that it's really easy to say, like, okay, well, obviously we put a server here because there's like the number of people and, you know, the distance to other nearby areas, like, you know, all sorts of stuff. It's really easy to justify servers in certain locations, and balancing server costs is a very important part of keeping this game happy, healthy, and successful, and keep updates flowing, all sorts of stuff. So I don't have anywhere near enough insight and information into that calculation to decide if it's worth it for us or not to put them there. I mean, like, if we could, we'd put a server in everyone's backyard. We can't. So I hope we can include one, because I know there's like a fairly significant number of requests that we get for South African servers. I think it's pretty rare that games do that, but yeah, I don't have a hard yes or no to give you right now. I'm sorry. Just in case we use one of those. Invulnerable while dashing is always important. A little oh poop button. Hi, hello, hi Mike, hi Aaron, how's it going? How refreshed will the shaman passive tree be? More nodes, buff nodes, little refresh, complete rework, thank you. I would, it's not done yet, so I don't know. I would expect to see more returning nodes than new nodes. I would expect to still be like, if you're familiar with it now, you'll still be generally familiar with it afterwards, would be my expectation. I'm sure there'll be like a good chunk of new things to breathe new life into it and all that sort of stuff, but it won't be like, let's read every single node from scratch and see what every single node does because everything's brand new. That's not happening. Do you think Necro could ever get skeleton bees? I mean, I hate saying no to ever questions, but I'd say unlikely. Zombies? Yeah, that's way better. Didn't that happen? Wasn't there like a news article that claimed that? It like wasn't actually, but it was sensational enough that it went viral for a little while. Falconer bee synergy? The birds, the bees, Beelista? I have heard every single one of those puns so many times. Only because they're fantastic. Just to be clear. And I love them. But I would not go into Falconer expecting significant bee synergy. We try and make bees sort of a like fun, accessible kind of meme thing that you can make work if you want. But we rarely try and say, hey, like, what's the bee build here? And like, oh, let's make sure there's enough bee synergy to make the bee build work. We don't do that. Come on, get in. All right. Play Ironblade Vengeance. I don't like Ironblade Vengeance right now. I got nerfed too hard. Oh, yeah, suffer so he gives it buffs. It's for the best. No, I know it's not super strong right now. Maybe a silly question, but will full offline characters benefit from SSF item faction thingy? So I just want to be clear, because every time this comes up, I gotta mention it. There is no SSF item faction. We have 2 item factions, one of which is a Merchant's Guild, which is focused around trading, and one which is Circle of Fortune, which is focused around not trading. But you can still party and play with each other. So it's not. It's like I'll give you that it's the SF faction, but not the SSF faction, because it's around finding the items yourself, but not playing by yourself. Doesn't mean you can't play by yourself. You can play by yourself with either of them. So yeah, it's yeah. That just want to be clear on that, because I quite often see like, oh, it's the SSF one. So I think people think. I think there's this. I've seen several people have the misconception where they'll be like on a forum and they'll be like, what if I like playing with people, but I want to use the SSF item faction? And I'm like, go ahead, because it's not SSF. So I gotta shout that out every time it happens. But yeah, yes, you'll be able to have full access to the Circle of Fortune in offline mode. I don't even know if you'll have access to Merchant's Guild in offline mode or not. I know it gets suggested as like a secret hard mode thing, and we're doing something else for hard mode, Masochist mode, if people remember that. But not Masochist mode, something different. Yeah. Dude, don't forget, if you have a question, please put at Last Epoch Game in front of the question, or just anywhere in the post so I see it, pops out of me, and I know that I'm supposed to answer it. Otherwise, I will gloss over it, as you may be enjoying a conversation with yourselves. Each other. That's the word I'm looking for. So good at speaking. Nailed it. Hi, Spike! Hi, everyone! It's funny. As I said that, I got to a question reminding me of this. Will there be online-only content not available for offline players, like D2 Pandemonium event? Which is only on star. Not sure what the star is. We don't have anything. Define content. It's funny. The definition of content, when it's positive to use it for this, it gets included, and when it's negative to use it for this, it doesn't, or vice versa, depending on how you want to look at it. The cosmetic system right now doesn't work offline. So if you consider cosmetics content, then yes, there will be some content online only. If you don't consider cosmetics content, then no, there won't be. At least right now, anyways. We don't plan to. I don't want to lock that door forever. Yeah, like I'd really like to include boss mechanics that have unique mechanics for bosses in multiplayer mode. So like the example I usually use for this is Diablo 2's Diablo, the bone prison, like grabs you and holds you in place. Fantastic mechanic in multiplayer. Oh my god, it sucks in single player. So I think there's a lot of room for boss fight mechanics that are interesting in multiplayer that don't fly in single player. We don't have anything like that at the moment, but I'd like to explore that. That's interesting design space to me. Who knows if it would work or not. How many more uniques can we expect with 1.0, and what sort of rate will new ones are expected? I do not know specifically how many more uniques will come with 1.0. A lot of the times we add uniques fairly late in the development cycle, so we'll still be adding uniques for the next couple months probably, and it kind of depends how long each one of those takes, how fast we get through them, all that sort of stuff will determine how many we add. I would expect a roughly similar number of new uniques to get added. Yeah, we want that. I would expect a roughly similar number of new uniques to get added as have happened in previous major patches. And we'll continue to add a roughly similar number of new uniques in follow-up major patches. Wow, what's that number you ask? I don't know off the top of my head. It's a pretty good chunk usually. We do add new unique specific. So every mastery does get. We usually try and whenever we add a new skill, we usually try and add at least one new unique that kind of goes with that skill nicely. Doesn't always necessarily need to have reference to that skill's name specifically on it, but something that just fits well with it at least. And so there's like Warlock has a bunch of new uniques coming that they'll synergize with their new skills, and Falconer has a bunch of new uniques coming that'll synergize with its skills, and like there's other new uniques that have no skill specific skill intentions, and there's other uniques that do have specific skill intentions for skills other than those coming on Warlock and Falconer, all that sort of stuff. So there'll be a significant set of new uniques to explore and play with and have fun. Any thoughts on what kind of Forge Guard build you will be playing? Not really yet. I love Hammerdins in all sorts of things. So I know it's the Din part is we've passed that. A Hammer Guard. Who knows? But yeah, could be fun there. I do really like the Captain America style shield ricochet builds. Maybe we'll do one of those. That sounds like fun. I'm just going super cash here, I'm channeling my inner first time player. I'm channeling my inner boomer. Yes, my inner boomer. Just playing relaxing. I'm here to hang out with you all instead of and just enjoy the game instead of really rushing through. Great job, the new trailer. Thanks to all of you for all your hard work. Thank you. They I didn't see the trailer until 3 days ago. 4 days ago, 1 or 2 days before the trailer went live. We got to see it. It was so hush secret even internally. It got posted internally, and there was a bunch of people that didn't even know we were making one. They're just like, wait, what? So that was pretty funny, and yeah, it was so great to see. I'm so excited to have just more visual storytelling in the game, and more ways that people can interact with and absorb the storyline and get involved with the world and things like that without going in depth on reading lore journals, which is something that a lot of people love to do, and you get into it, it's super cool. I've spent way too much time just reading the lore chunks on Ariad Summit. Yeah, it's just so much fun. But yeah, they did a great job, so I'm glad you enjoyed it. The Beast Master, yeah, it's a good one. I like it.
Greetings. Farewell.
Let's go down this way. This is my mandatory what's happening with Healing Hands question of the week. At launch, all skills will have a skill tree. Healing Hands, we did our ideation session for its skill tree a couple weeks ago. I haven't seen the specific task to set up the mutator in game yet. Someone else might have gotten it though. Currently, it still is the way it is in live. The CTs do have a build out right now, and their build does not have a specializable healing hands yet. Hi! When you think of a balance patch, like maybe for the Rune Master. Hi, when you think of a balance patch, like maybe for the Rune Master, will you hit him hard or will you help the other classes a little more? Yeah, okay, I see what you're asking. When we're balancing the game in general, there's not really a blanket like only buffs or only nerfs answer to this question. We kind of have to look at every specific situation, decide what's going to be the best option for that balance requirement that needs to happen, and try and be as surgical as possible with it. So, if there's a let's say there's a flame rush build that's so crazy overpowered and everyone's just like wrecking face with it, but then there's also like a bunch of people using flame rush that's like just fun and really healthy for the skill and all that sort of stuff. We're not if the approach we're taking is to nerf that build, we're going to take some approach that targets specifically the interaction causing that build to go nuts, so that it has as little impact, if any, on people that are not taking advantage of that interaction, or are taking advantage of that interaction in a less extreme way, or add in a different interaction to take its place that might not scale quite as bonkers out of control, but still be fun and exciting and interesting and powerful. The example I usually give is that if like one build is sticking out at, you know, like if 100% is the average power level of most builds, and there's a build that sticks out to like 200% power, and then there's another set of builds that are all at 130% power, and we nerf that 200% power one down to like 135%. Great, it's still the best build in the game, but like that was a massive nerf, and it's still the best build in the game. That still gets reported on as a devastatingly terrible thing we've done, even if it's still the clear best build in the game. So it's difficult to nerf things, but we will and have. It's difficult to nerf things and have people enjoy the nerfs. We do our best to do that. I know it sounds ridiculous. Crit. I love how a like dude without a bottom is a symbol of hope. Where are we on here? Damage. I wish this was better in here. I do. Frailty. Frailty is good. We're back. What do you think of Path of Exile, given it a fair amount of hours in your days? Yeah, so super short version, I think Path of Exile is a fantastic game.
Go on.
I think what Path of Exile's done for the genre of ARPGs as a whole is incredible, and I don't know if we would be where we are today without Path of Exile existing. And like all the interactions we've had with the people that work on Path of Exile have been so fantastic too. They've been just great. getting to meet them, like I got to meet them for the first time myself in Gamescom in Germany recently, and that was so cool. If any of you are watching, I had a blast. Hope I see you again. Don't think so, but worth a shot. Yeah, that was getting to meet them was one of the highlights of my trip for sure. Just meeting people in general was the highlight of my trip. Yeah, I think we try to sort of carve out our own niche in the genre a little bit, and with Path of Exile and Diablo being such a huge part of that genre, it's difficult to find a space that where you can stand out and be unique in that space, but like we do our best. I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. But yeah, if I don't know, if like 2 years from now, the go-to pattern was just like, oh, you spend a couple months playing PoE, and you spend a couple months playing LE, and you just gotta bounce between our patches. Oh my god, I would love that. That'd be so great. Are you kidding me? Oh, love it. I should probably like start picking stuff up instead of just being like, yeah, this level 4 item, it's great. Yeah, I mean, it's actually not bad, but that didn't help much. Oh, excuse me. just throwing chaos at this thing. We actually have a surprising amount of minions with Forge Strike there. Cold damage. Get out of here with that. Actually, let's at least slap something up here. Just get our stuff up just a little bit better. Yeah. That's not terrible. There we go. That should be a little bump. Little bump. We should find a better amulet. I think that's really hurting right now. All right, back to questions. Oh, also PoE. Yeah, I played PoE since I remember playing PoE beta. The first time I heard about PoE, I was living in this little basement suite. I remember exactly what it was. My buddy came in. My roommate who's in the room next door came in, and he was like, I was playing Diablo 2, and he came rushing in. And, oh my, that was dumb. He's like, Mike, you gotta check this out. And it was the PoE beta, and it was like, I feel like you need to apply to get in or something. I applied. I didn't get in right away or something. I can't remember what it was. And I was playing on his account on his computer when he was out working. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. And I remember being just like, it's D2.5. I'm ready. That was also funny because he had his username for his computer. I'm not gonna say what it was, but his username for his computer, he had just put a name in of just a random name, that he just typed in. He's like, ah, it's a name, whatever. He just made up a name, and the name he'd made up, first and last name, was the exact first and last name of one of my other friends that he didn't know. And I thought, like, I sat down at his computer. I can't really remember this, but I sat down at his computer to play, and I saw the username, the account username, and I'm like, oh, you know him too? He's like, no, who? That's me. I made that up. What? And yeah, because the town we live in is small enough that happens, where you two people just happen to know the same person. That happens all the time. But yeah, it was just a coincidence. Which I thought was funny. Oh, all right. Some more questions up in here. Will there be any updates for the Necromancer minions in the skill trees? You have better info of what they do. Some of the abomination tooltips don't really tell me much of anything. There might be some things, like if there were bug fixes or specific nodes we targeted or things like that, possibly. I know there's not a large set of there's not a large set of changes for abomination. I know that. Hi Mike! Are you guys satisfied with how Ward is being used currently, specifically for rogues? Seems like all the top builds use low life setup, especially since the experimental glove missing HP to Ward affix got added, and HP necklace got nerfed. I think that there's a little too... it's not far off. It's not far off. I think there's too much... There's a little too much investment into it on builds that are less naturally suited to it, I think. For our hopes. We don't want to say like, oh, only mages and acolytes can use Ward. Brah. We don't want to do that. But we do really want to give mages and acolytes an easier time to access Ward and have that be like the primary, just like, oh, you're making a mage or an acolyte, yeah, like you're gonna have some Ward investment. Oh, you're making a rogue or a sentinel or a primalist, oh, you're probably not gonna have Ward investment. But with space for people to divert from that and experiment if they want, and still be successful if they find like a fun way to do that, and maybe less universal and a little more niche would be ideal. I like the nerf to 135% discussion when that happens. What/where will you describe that to the community? What? Oh, you like the nerf to 135% discussion. Oh, that was a number that I said just now, just of like, as an example, yeah. For the record, those numbers were me trying to use numbers to illustrate a point, to give examples, so just to get a better sense of it for people, not specific hard fast rules that we use. Just I hope that was clear. If not, I apologize. But yeah, it's more meant as a like. We're gonna put in the slot. It's fine. It's a good way to heal ourselves if we have to. Yeah, it's not a like. There's no document written down like how to nerf. Something like that, you know. Every time we do like a major rebalancing, we look at that situation in context of the game as a whole, and specifically in that situation. I remember asking this a long time ago, and at that time you guys had no plans, but have you guys considered having scaled versions of item bases to bring low-level ones up to par with higher-level ones at high levels? Like a ruby amulet or a jade ring is practically never good because the good base in endgame because they're meager numbers. Jewelry is a little bit of a unique situation where I'd say it's if we were to do it anywhere, it would be more likely to be done with jewelry than anywhere else. But no, we it wouldn't be a. It probably wouldn't be like a buffed version of it. It would just be like a different. I mean, it would look like that probably. But if we were gonna do that, it would be a different base of the same type, which would be the same. It's just like adding roll ranges to the implicits. But yeah, nothing's changed. All right, are you changing / improving QA approach with 1.0? Marksman was pretty much broken at one point. I assume due to Falconer work. No. The assumption there is wrong. Our QA approach is constantly evolving for sure. One of the big things that 1.0 has over the last several dozen patches, every patch. The big thing 1.0 has over every single patch before it is the content lock will be an order of magnitude of time longer than ever before. So we'll have a lot longer to test. In previous patches, like I'm one of the worst culprits for this, but I've been like week before patch being like, here's a new major feature, let's go, we gotta get this in. And like I shouldn't have been doing that. It was a terrible idea. So, you know, but our primary like major content lock is coming up pretty close actually. And there's still things that'll be put in afterwards, but like there's gonna be a lot more time to balance and test and bug fix for this patch. So it's less about QA and more just scheduling. Like we already have our CT build. So for those of you that don't know, we do have a community testing program where people who are not on payroll have the opportunity to access patch content early and give us feedback on it, and just an outside perspective that's able to say like, because sometimes you're working on something for 6 months and you're really close to it, and there's like quirks that it has that you're just so used to at some point that they don't even register in your brain as a thing anymore. Oh my god, that's frustrating. And it's really important to get that outside perspective, and just having someone that hasn't seen anything about it is really important. So that's already up and running. That's spun up last week. We've already made changes based on their feedback. And usually that didn't spin up in the past. That spun up like at most a month before patch. And we're still 3 months out now. 3 months, 4 days. Yeah. Alright, next one. Can you please give your dev thoughts on some differences you reckon exist between LE and PoE backend? So I am not one of the backend engineers for Last Epoch. I know a lot about how it's like the overarching conceptual of it, but like the nitty-gritty stuff is not day-to-day hands-on on a lot of that stuff. So I can't give you a fantastic idea of that. Let's go into Forge Strike. Let's lean into this minion thing until these gloves are terrible. You know? Let's go straight to crit, whatever. Yeah. Never mind, minions. Crit! Crit! Ah! No crit. Oh. Where are we at? Backend differences between PoE and LE. Yeah. So I can tell you that the engine that PoE is made in is completely developed in house. Well, not completely, but it's an in-house developed engine specifically for PoE. We use Unity. So there's good and bad things about both of those approaches. And so there's going to be some significant differences just right off the bat there. I really don't know enough about PoE's backend structure to comment too directly on this. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of good things to say about the differences, and I just don't know enough to give you a good answer. I'm sorry. Is it a bad question to answer? Is it a bad question to answer regarding your thoughts on differences in the backend? I'm genuinely interested. Oh, it's just about the same thing. I don't know. I don't think it's a good. I don't think it's a bad question. No. I think it's a great question. I just don't know enough about either backends to really give you a good answer. Sorry. If you do have a question for me, please put at Last Epoch Game in the question so I see it. And I apologize if I have skipped over one of your questions. Please repost it with at Last Epoch Game, and I will answer it. Why Earth isn't flat? Because gravity. Because gravity. And that seems like a throwaway answer, but that's actually why. Wait, I'm not getting paid. Sorry. Gotta read that fine print.
Farewell.
Oh, I'm pressing buttons. Wrong button. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Do we like switch to shield throw when we get there? Do we wait a little bit? I do like the way we look right now with this big hammer. I like the gap in it.
Yes.
Boss fight time. Have you considered the to change? Have you considered probably? Have you considered to change the modifiers on the monos to something you can manage with your build more strategically? Example, dodge or crit avoidance on the monos. This is just DPS reduce for the related builds. Okay, I'm curious about this question because I may have misread it, but I think that you just upon first reading, I think you just suggested us do something and then said we should stop doing that same thing. But let me read it again to make sure, because I may not understand what you're asking. That happens a lot because I'm bad at reading. Have you considered to change the modifiers on the monos to something you can manage with your build more strategically? So like punish really specific parts of builds so that you can focus on other parts of builds in order to interact with it strategically. Like that's what I read from that. I don't know, maybe I'm just reading it wrong. And the example is dodge or crit avoidance on monos, which like is what I just said. Like it goes after hit builds specific or crit builds, hit and then crit builds specifically. This is just DPS reduced for the related builds, which I think is you're saying that that's a bad thing. I'm really sorry. I feel like I'm just missing the point here. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'm missing, but I think it's just me being silly. And as soon as this is done, I'm gonna scroll down and hope someone's explained it. Okay, good up. Okay, good looking out. Wait until I can craft a ballista ring or two, and have enough points to remove the cooldown. Okay. Let's look if I can find a follow-up from this person. For example, crit avoid to be replaced with reduced crit chance. Oh, you mean that like so you could overcome it, so that there's like if you're a crit build and you build like 200% crit, it doesn't matter that there's a 50% crit reduction because you're still at 100% crit. Instead of crit avoidance, in which case that doesn't matter if you're at 200% crit. If there's 50% crit avoidance, you're still at 50% crit even though you're started at 200. Oh, yeah, and the next one. That way you can overcap crit to play versus it. Okay. Yeah, see, I just wasn't understanding the question. It's just me. It's just me being dumb. Yeah. There was, a couple years ago, an extremely long debate on this exact topic. I do not remember the exact reason why it was crit avoidance and not reduced crit chance. I know exactly who could answer this. Let's see if they're online. Where are you? They are offline with their notifications turned off. Yeah. I cannot contact the person who can answer this right now. I'm sorry. But yeah, I like it is a very valid point to bring up, and I don't have a good answer for you. It's probably something to do with the way it interacts with the items on your build. I'm not sure. Let's scroll back up. More questions. We're looking to make ballista rings now, right? Is that what we're doing? Should we add a tree? Here we go. Strength and dex. Oh my god. I'm right to 0. Oh, whatever, it's there. I should have done discovery. That was my mistake. That is a prefix. Oh my god, I'm using hopes instead of chaoses. Oh, we are just all over the place. You know, just out of principle, we're dropping that on the ground. Oh, excuse me. That was weird. Any interesting and or funny stories regarding programming bugs that are found and how they were solved? I always just feel so stupid after I find so many of the bugs. Just like anything that's like that I've worked on long enough to like stick out as a memory is just, it's always so like, oh yes, that's finally what it was. It's over. Not like it's funny that that was the thing. All right, chaos it. Blah. My beard's getting a little unruly. A couple more months and I'll be ready to play Santa. Interesting bugs. Interesting programming bugs. Okay. The one that comes to mind, I'm like, oh, I've talked about this before, but whatever. I guess I'll do it. There was a when we were first setting up homing, like when a projectile like heat seeks to a target. We've got this scene with just like a bunch of little dummies. All like you can like spawn dummies, move dummies around, set enemies up in specific patterns to like check things like this, and so the attraction ratio had an extra negative sign in there, and it caused like when you said like, oh, like it's got a homing factor of like 3, it would, which is very strong homing factor. It would avoid the things instead of moving towards them, and move away from them. So you'd be like, you throw something at a target, be like, okay, it's supposed to heat sink to that target, and it would just like go and just veer away from it as fast as it could. And then we started setting up, fix the bug, but then you just put a negative number in the attraction ratio, and started having fun at like setting up obstacle courses to see like how many things you could throw a shield towards without it hitting any of them. And like watching it like weave through like obstacle courses of training dummies. That was fun. All right, Epic Raid Boss asks. I like that name, it's good. Oh, did I miss one? This was an hour ago? Did I miss this an hour ago? Oh, I'm so sorry if I did. ODM! If I did miss you, I'm sorry. I just looked over. I don't remember saying this one. ODM49, thank you for the sub. 6 months in a row! Hello, hello, hello! Oh. Just for my horrible manners, I'll give you a little teaser here. This is for ODM49. So here's a little sneak peek look at our new item tooltips and how they're gonna look. Also looking at the new Ruby Fang Aegis. I don't know if there's any changes to that at all. I don't think much changed there, but if there has, there you go. But yeah, this is what new item tooltips look like. So there's the art's not necessarily quite as restricted to the frame. There's some more flourishes. Color's different. Font is different. The way that the requirements. This doesn't show the the requirements layout at the bottom, but there's new way we're saying like, oh, this requires Circle of Fortune to equip. Oh, this requires Forge Guard to equip. Things like that. So there's all sorts of new stuff happening with our tooltip display. Boom, there you go, little one there. There's a lot of news that came out this morning with the development update, dev blog update. If you haven't seen the November development update post, check that out. There's a ton of new stuff in there. It's fantastic. Highly recommend. Alright, so any chance of getting the current appearance Transmog tab to work with already found in-game armor sets, aka all armor and not just purchased armor? I would love to use some very nice in-game visuals without using that armor. We do not have a method to do this for 1.0. It is something that we've discussed doing. It's something we want to get done. It's something we want to work, but it is not going to be available at 1.0. And I don't know the details of what that'll look like when it is there. I don't know if this is going to be like I guess what's one of the spectrums D3 where every item you've ever found you can just make any item look that way with a very paltry sum of in-game currency, and like have fun, go ahead, dye it any color you want. You know, that's just super anything goes mode. And then like opposite end of the spectrum is like what was like I think the original WoW version of the Transmog was like. I'm just talking just two extremes of the spectrum here. It's gonna be somewhere in the middle of this spectrum. I don't know where, but like I think the original version for WoW was like, you could buy an MTX item that makes one item look like another, and it like consumes the first item or something like that. I don't know if it consumed it or not, but it consumed the MTX item. They were single use. They were purchasable single use items, and it was brutal. So yes, somewhere between those two extremes. Like if we get that in, that's yeah. Hey bees, welcome to the hive. That's like some celebrity group of fans or something, I think. Mike, shut up, your ignorance is showing. Oh, sorry. My bad. I'm not old, you're old. Anyways. Our future MTX armor visual changes going to be in-house design and ideas, or will you collab with a known pop culture thingy, say Family Guy, and you can wear a peanut butter jelly sandwich costume or look like a giant mutated chicken? It's possible that we might do some partnerships with wow, Zero Slide has I was like, what is that sound? Like we never hear that sound. Zero Slide, thank you very much for the 1,000 bits. Wow. Great game. First time catching the stream. Very much enjoying it. That's awesome. I'm glad you're having fun. That's awesome. Thank you. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Collabs for other stuff. For the most part, the general rule for us is MTX needs to make sense in universe. It needs to be things that theoretically you could find in the world of Eterra. And that like makes sense, at least mostly makes sense, you know. So like there could be something that maybe was referential to something, or like a little flair on something that like we're like, oh, that's a nod to this thing. A full-on peanut butter jelly sandwich costume, like Halloween costume style, no, sorry. It's like, it's cool. It's just not the type of aesthetic we're going for our game. So yeah, we're looking to keep things as in-universe as possible. And like things can change. It might not be a hard and fast rule. It might be a little bit like, there might be times where like bend it a little bit for specific situations, or I don't know. But the primary, yeah, we're gonna get the no mana cost. What do I do? It should be the first thing. No cooldown. Sorry. Yeah. Are there any places in the code the team dreads having to touch? Yes. I mean, I dread having to touch anything multiplayer related. But that's just because I don't know enough about it to do it safely. But there's no like code boogeyman script that's like oh, I gotta work with that script again. It's such a mess. No, there's nothing like that. There's a few scripts that are like a little on the heavy side. Like those, they're humongous. But they're not terrible. Like okay, well the primary script that runs the whole user interface, like the thing that manages like what's on screen, like when I press this button and I say like open the skills panel, like the thing that says, all right, do I close the other things that are behind it? What's open? What do I close? Like that the script that handles all that is humongous. But there's just so many panels that can show up, and so many like edge cases of like, oh, you're doing a scene transition. Should you close the panels or not? Is it a scene transition of a specific type? So like technically, when a new echo opens, it's a scene transition, even though you don't move at all. It looks like you stay where you are. It's a scene transition. So before, every time we had a scene transition, the loading screen would show up, and so we could close all of the UI windows underneath it, and it's great. But then as soon as we started adding echoes additively loading, it was a scene transition where it didn't make sense to close windows because people would be like in their shop and someone in their stash, and someone else would start an echo in the party, and it would close their stash on them, and they drop an item on the ground. And like there was a time when it was actually cleaning all the ground every time an echo opened, and so there was like in early versions, this never went live, I don't think, where people would have their stash open. Someone else in the party would start an echo, ready to try to drop something in their stash. They drop the item on the ground, and it would delete the item, like just because they have a race condition, like a very specific race condition. And so yeah, there's that script's a little bloated, but bloated is the wrong term for it because it is as big as it needs to be, but it is huge. Intimidating might be a better word. The script that runs the primary functions or all the special functions on the character. So like actually just increased melee stun chance per level. Like even that, there's a special script on the player that makes that work, which means that stat can never apply to a minion because that minion doesn't have that script because it's huge. But I don't dread touching those because I work in those every day, so. A lot of RPGs have abilities that have projectiles that can bounce off walls, objects, and maps. Would you ever add that to an ability in LE, either by skill tree or unique item? If it was possible for us to add that performantly, it would be in the game by now, specifically with shield throw. We do not have a method by which we can put that in the game right now, where it doesn't ruin everything. I'm sorry. Don't like the current font better? Well, that is a custom font that we spent a very long time developing specifically for LE, so get used to seeing it a lot, because it ain't going anywhere. Is there any chance Fireball's homing node will get fixed? I don't know. No information on bugs here, sorry. And stop circling on top of an enemy doing no damage. So that happens specifically when multiple fireballs have locked onto the same target, and one of them's already hit it, and the other one can't hit it anymore because only one of multiple fireballs in a single shot can hit the target. It's generally when that should happen. So you're not actually losing any damage with this bug, but yes, it is a frustrating visual bug. If that makes you feel any better. New Tooltips looks fantastic. Reminds me to ask, is there a specific reason for using a small caps font style? We just through a bunch of testing, found it easier to parse quickly. Have you thought about allowing the player to choose targeted loot similar to the Division 2? I haven't played the Division 2, so I can't compare it specifically. I'm sorry. I have a really hard time farming idols and would rather all Monolith rewards be idol drops or whatever gear slot I need. So we do try to put some level of drop shaping that you can do, so you can like influence your drops in specific ways, be it through Monolith rewards, where you can say like, give me more idols, give me more of this specific idol that I'm looking for, whether that's through completing specific taking specific options in dungeons when you go to the next floor, like, hey, pick the idol one if you need idols, you know, things like that. So we do try to give players the opportunity to curate their drops a little bit through in-game choices already. So we do that to the extreme extent of just let me trade in all my drops for idols. Probably not, no. Coming up with 1.0 with the item faction systems, be it with if you're taking Circle of Fortune or Merchant's Guild, both of those do have ways that you can significantly alter the types of items you're acquiring, and to curate those drops a lot more than what you have already. I don't know why I took that without specking into a throwing ability. That was dumb. It doesn't matter though. We're having fun. I should put a throwing skill on my bar, shouldn't I? Lead with it. Let's go do a side quest. Yeah, so there's... What was I answering? Oh yeah, targeting drops. So we are adding more tools for more specifically targeting your gear, but having it be completely targetable. I mean, like with if you do go Merchant's Guild, you can just spend all your money on buying idols. And there you go. Alright, regarding UI elements, are there any plans to allow us to move or customize the main skill hotbar? No. In other RPGs, I find myself using tools like Reshade to mirror that part of the screen into the middle of my field of view near my character because the glance down requirement causes eye strain during long sessions. Alternatively, can we continue using Reshade that way in LE? So I'm not going to give any hard yes or no on any third-party tools using with LE being okay or not. I'm just like, if you'd like a firm answer on that, the answer is no, it's not okay. If you don't want me to give a firm answer, the answer is maybe it's okay. So take your pick of those two answers, either maybe or no. Yeah, it's one of those things that like, it's really hard to give a blanket statement on things like that, just because there's like there might be some niche way of using it that we don't know that is problematic. I know that there have been some uses for Reshade that have been approved in the past. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. Ooh, that's a nice little idol. Yeah, a little armor, a little health. I'll take it. UI customization. There's a few things in UI customization that is that would be really nice to get in. It's something that we would like to do. And there is like we have extremely minimal UI customization that kind of happens a tiny little bit. And people, I'm gonna say to people, like, nah, it doesn't count, Mike. So I'm not gonna say it. And I know that there's been there are a lot of people that feel that there's situations where UI is too small, and wanting to increase the size of that, especially if you're playing on a couch, like you're pretty far away from a TV, that sort of thing. UI is pretty tough to read. There's text can be really hard to read in situations like that. So I would say UI customization is sort of in that someday category. Like, oh man, it would be nice. And there's always people working on those someday category things. Hi, Judd. So I can't really say yes or no. I'm sorry. I'd love to be able to. Hey, Mike, you may not know this since it's a little ways out. But any idea of how big the 1 point update will be? No. I think around 500 meg. It will be more than 500. It'll be more than a gig. It'll be more than a gig. I'm confident in at least a gig. Mostly because there's a lot of changes to the way we do levels, and so a lot of the scenes, like in Monolith, in the dungeons, in the campaign, everywhere, there's a lot of changes to those scenes, and that often triggers, even if the change isn't that big. I think the way the differential patching works is it actually updates the whole file. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that adding in updates to scenes themselves causes the patches to be a little bit bigger on Steam. Anywhere really. Do you have a single generic team working on character classes and skill trees, or are there specific teams for each character type? We have, it's more in the generic character sense, but there are, it's a combination of both, I guess. So we have like our design team, and like our and that gets broken down into like skill design team, and our like boss design, or like encounter design team, and our level design team, and our like, so there's like subgroups of that do stuff. The skill design is usually the same people, skill to skill, but then we'll usually give like an owner to a specific mastery. So like there's someone whose like job it is to like a bunch of things, but part of their job is to push Falconer production and sort of like own Falconer production. And there's someone else's job who is the owner of Warlock, and it's their job to push Warlock production and make sure that like pushing production is the wrong way to put it, but like tracking the design and making sure nothing gets like forgotten and left behind, that sort of thing. So like there's a bit of both. Yeah. A bit of both. There's a couple people that are kind of involved with everything. There's one person in particular that's like our principal designer is really heavily involved with all of those design tasks, and has their their DNA all over the game everywhere. Like, yeah, would not be the same without them. I should really have Rebuke on my bar. Because then I could have just stood in that. Alright, next one. 1.0 is pretty close. How done is it? Are delays possible and expected? 1.0 will release on February 21st. Like the... I guess delay is always possible, but like... What would have to go wrong to make 1.0... oh, that was way too early. Yep, way too early. What would have to happen for 1.0 not to come out at that time would be, like, a devastatingly catastrophic problem. Like... Yeah. Stuff is on track. I've got one more little thing to share. Kind of just a follow up on the last one, really. This is actually an item I was talking about on stream earlier. This is Baldur's Wrath. This has been nerfed into the ground compared to what it was. It's still good. Yeah, so here's what a unique item looks like with our new item tooltips. Pretty cool. Neat stuff. I might slap this down in the corner so I can, if people want to keep seeing it, they can while I play. Here we go.
May Eterra smile upon you. Farewell, greetings.
Give me those idle slots. I want idle slots. Yes. Let's look at our stash. See if we've got something that like just jumps out of me as like, why am I not using that? Hmm? Hmm. Right now, what is that? No. We've actually got a sweet shield here. Does this work? Okay, we gotta level it up. I had a ring I was going to put on when I did this. Where's that ring? There's that ring. Right, I remember where we were. Got a little time left. Let's go see if we can do stuff with this. Probably won't go fantastic. That's okay. Initial results promising? Initial results promising? Do you personally have a favorite defensive mechanic in LE? If you could add additional layer, what would it be? I really like thematically cool defensive mechanics. And I know it sounds terrible, but I really like defensive mechanics that that leave you at low health and have those like, oh, almost died moments. So endurance is my favorite mechanic for that way. It's possible there might be a new one that comes eventually. Remember we were talking about one? I don't know what happened with that. Can't remember if that got approved or not, sorry. I think there's also defensive mechanics that are used, that are generated offensively that are kind of underrated. So like just snap freeze, like freeze or stun as a defensive mechanic. I really like, and like okay, here's my favorite defensive mechanic. It is in Rogue when you oh crap, what's the name of it? The one that you disappear and you like attack a whole bunch of times on a single target, but you're invulnerable because you're not there really. That's my favorite defensive mechanic. All right. Any update on allowing loot filter items to show up on the minimap? In the past, you mentioned a performance issue, I think. Yeah, I did mention that in the past. We don't have. There's no updates. Everything's the same as it was. There's no. Oh, sorry about that. I need a better mute button. It's possible that we might add that. I don't think being added for 1.0. The problem that this suggestion solves, as we talked about last time about having the narrowing down the problems of the suggestions in order to determine if possibly there's a different way to solve it. In this case is usually the problem that's presented is, hey, I've got a bunch of minions and they killed it behind, I didn't see it, or hey, I'm all dots and I keep running forward and it dropped behind me, I didn't see it. There's other ways to solve that. I know one way that's been suggested, and you can't see the chat that I just opened, but having it yell at you in chat, like, hey, this dropped somewhere, go find it, which I know isn't as useful as an icon that says like this is where this item is, but it it achieves the same or similar problem solving. Pebbles, love that. I love that set. The flavor text on is really good with the whole thing. Which I realize you can't read because of where it is. Sorry. I got 2 of them. I got 2 of the sash. That's funny. Oh, what did our shield just get? Oh, more health. We'll take it. We will take that to the bank. Just throwing. We're going shield throw. Let's do this. Synchronized strike, yeah. Question skipped. Missed. I'm sorry if I missed your question. I apologize. I did. Yep, I totally missed that. Are you guys, gals, at EHE planning to go the way of the season pass / dailies? And if so, is there any plans to make it so that implementation of that doesn't create a feeling of having to log in and it gets to become a chore to play? So we don't have any. Say any. There technically already is a daily mechanic in the game. The reward for the dungeon reward changes. There's a unique dungeon reward that changes every day. Now it's not like some massive thing, and it's a little bit different than a daily quest because if you don't log in on Sword Day, it's not like you get less total gear. Like it's not like you you don't get something per day for logging in. Just the thing you get changes every day when logging in. So it's not quite the same. Like, oh, I have to log in every day. When I say that, usually the argument that gets tossed back is, well, I have to log in to check what it is every day. And yeah, fair enough. That's unfortunate. And we should probably have a way of checking that on our website or something like that, so you don't have to log in if we're going to keep doing things like that more extreme. Like with a bigger implication, if that's the case. We don't have any more plans for mechanics like that right now. They're not off the table. As far as like a season's pass type mechanic, we don't have any plans for that. If we did do a season's pass mechanic, we would we would really try really hard to make it as simple, I think, would be the best way to put it as possible, and have as few of these like those types of mechanics as possible. So it would be more along the lines of like, okay, this season or this cycle, here's like a list of like 8 things you have to do this cycle in order to like complete the season. Maybe they don't even have to be done in order, you know, and definitely not specific days of the week. And I quite frequently get into a bit of a debate on like on Seasons Pass stuff, because I really like Seasons Pass mechanics, if done in a very specific way. And there's a lot of really big problems with how Seasons Passes are done in a lot of situations. But there's definitely ways that I've seen Seasons Passes done that work fantastic. And the key thing is that you just don't have it be a pay thing. So it's just like it's more like a series of cycle quests, I guess would be a better way to put it than a Seasons Pass. And it's like the distinction there is such a fine line that it's hard to really differentiate them, I think. I think the problem comes with the Seasons Pass when you start saying, okay, here's the free track and here's the paid track, and like, oh, you can only complete the thing if you log in every day, or you can complete it like you can only move it up a step every day, or you tie these in-game achievements to outside of game rules is generally not a great way to make it fun. I don't want to make too many absolute statements with this because it's so hard to think of all the edge cases. I think the vast majority of the time Seasons Passes come up, they usually have problems with them that make them less awesome than they could be. But I think there's ways that they can be done really well. We're not planning one. I'm just in defense of Seasons Passes as a mechanic, I guess. Yes. Alright, here we go. It's shield time. Did I get another thing in? No. Oh, more health, I think. And the UI, I guess part of the reason I'm bringing this all up is the UI for cycle and the UI for item factions in general is gonna feel very Seasons Passy, you know. It's like the style of how you interact with the item factions in a cycle is very similar to how you'd interact with a Seasons Pass. Like, big differences being there's no way to pay to get an advanced version. It's just like there's one track, effectively, and it's not a Seasons Pass at all. The UI just looks really similar. And if you want to stretch the definition of Seasons Pass, you could make arguments for it being similar. Because you are you're having to gain ranks. You play the game, and as you play the game, you gain ranks in this system, and as you rank up, you unlock new bonuses to be used in that system. Like that's the broad definition of a Seasons Pass in most cases, I think. So yeah, it's hard to say, like, are we gonna have any? Well, no, but kind of in a weird roundabout way, a little bit, sort of ish. Hope that answered the question. Oh, we are out of time. Okay, I'm going to burn through any questions that are here and call it a stream. And we're gonna look at my sweet character with enemies ominously in the distance as we do it. Right. Do you have any plans to do you have any plans to expand item filtering options and add affixes that can be turned into shards? And I have less than 100 of these shards in storage to make dynamic filtering of shards to a certain number less laborious to the player. No. A small suggestion about new item design: could you add a small aesthetic dash line that would separate prefixes from suffixes just to ease us noobs into the game at what stat goes where? We have actually tried this. Probably not. It didn't look very good. If you look in the you can see this little marking here and this little marking here. This has 2 prefixes and 1 suffix. You can also look these dots, 2 prefixes and 1 suffix. So there are some ways to help you with that already that are sticking around. So that's the best I got for you. I'm sorry. I wish Last Epoch Online worked without having to use a VPN. I never had this issue with any other online game. People said, sucks. Hey, wow, that was the last question. Very cool. Oh my god, he said season instead of cycle. Get him, Kane. Yeah, my bad. Paid seasons pass is a huge red flag FOMO. Yeah. Like, there's no paid seasons pass. There's no seasons pass, really. And there's definitely no paid version of it. If you're a paid version of the Battle Pass, there's no paid version of the Battle Pass. There's no Battle Pass. It's give extra cosmetics. That's usually fine. It's cosmetics you'd be spending money on otherwise in your MTX store. Yeah, I actually agree with you there. If you're going to have a paid version of the Battle Pass, having the paid version really strictly be cosmetic differences only, yeah, it's, I mean, great. I have no problem with paid cosmetics at all, clearly. But yeah, like that's a very fine line to walk. Very fine line to walk. And I think there's been examples of people trying to do exactly that and like accidentally including tangible benefits to a paid version of a battle pass or a seasons pass or something like that, and like just being like a complete mistake, just because it's so easy to do it accidentally. Yeah. Deep Rock Galactic and Warframe seasons passes are good. Cool. I haven't interacted with their seasons passes before, but I'm very happy that there's good examples there. The dev said anything about progression carrying over from cycles to merchant rep, like the merchant rep. So it's tied to your stash, and that gets reset every cycle. So it'll be like Legacy will have your own version of that, and Cycle will have your own version of that. They will not overlap. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome. We're all done here. I had a ton of fun. I hope you did too. That's all for today. I'll be back next time, same place next week. If you had a question that I did not answer and you would like to get it answered, we do have an Ask the Devs channel on our Discord. Please feel free to stop by, ask questions. I'll do my best to answer them. We also have an Ask the Community channel. If you've just got like mechanic questions about like, hey, does this item work? Like usually they can answer it faster than I can. Yeah. That'll about do it. Okay, last week I messed up the raid because I didn't know the person was actually just leaving raid as I said it. I know this person's still streaming. Safe raid. Here we go. Yeah. See you later, everybody. Have fun. Drink lots of water.